Hello and welcome to another edition of the Fatu Network News Review today, 14th August 2018. My name is Omar Wale. The police has issued a statement saying that restaurant owners and bar owners should acquire license before they sell liquor. President Barrow had a press conference today. He discussed issues from detention of junglers, the Banjul Bara Bridge, and he also responded to Dr. Ismaila Ceesay, who said President Barrow doesn't have the intellectual pedigree to run this country. But before all that, I will also join by a few people who will call via Skype. We'll discuss those issues, and even the 7 people that drowned yesterday on Friday in Banjul while trying to go through the back way through Europe through Spain. I will start with the Standard newspaper. TRRC denies Alhaji Barrow's defends Alhaji Barrow's appointment. Yesterday we had a heated debate here. Dr. Babagale Jallow, the executive secretary of the TRRC, was here. He shed light on the Alhaji Barrow's appointment, and Muhammadu Sabali, the former secretary general who was challenging Alhaji's appointment, saying he's tinted, also had his say, and we had other people online. Part of our interview yesterday, Standard took a part of it and published it today, and said the executive secretary of Truth, Reconciliation and Reparation Commission, Dr. Babagale Jallow, has said that contrary to some of the people's view that the appointment of Alhaji Barrow, one of the December 30th attackers on Jammeh State House, may not give the process a credibility, the opposite could be the case. The executive secretary defended that one yesterday. Said Alhaji is the right person for the job. He was not handpicked. He went through the process, and as even his military background put him in a good position to fulfill that role. But Sabali insisted that he is not the right man for the job. Conflicting testimonies worries Faraba Commission. According to the Standard newspaper, commissioners looking into the June 18 deadly shooting of 3 protesters in Faraba have said the testimonies so far have been riddled with inconsistency. Their comment follow yet another contradiction yesterday when Sergeant Sambandoy of Police Intervention Unit told the commission that contrary to what his colleague Sergeant Aliu Kamara said, Kamara was present at the scene on Faraba on the 8th of June 2018. Sergeant Aliu Kamara had denied he was present on the ground. And you may remember the former Inspector General of Police, Landing Kinte, also appeared before the commission and also gave his side. He said the officers present on the ground were loaded, their guns were loaded. And the Interior Minister also refutes Babylon protesters' allegation. In a telephone interview with the Standard newspaper, the Interior Minister, Ibrahim Mbalo, has refuted claims that he had assured the people of Mandinaring, Lamen, and Makumbaya and Kerawan village of funding a demarcate their borders. According to Mbalo, the only time the Babylon issue came to his desk was when he was governor of West Coast region, when all the land disputes were brought before his notice. And Gambia's Foreign Minister Mamadou Tangara received World Food Program Country Director and GFF aggrieved Party Petition National Assembly Select Committee. There has in no apparent an end to the ever-evolution crisis in the Gambia Football Federation election saga. According to the Standard, from the nomination to appeals to negotiations at the Ministry of Sports and at the courtroom, the controversy still rages. In a latest twist, the Standard said 5 aggrieved disqualified candidates of Malik Silla camp have signed a letter to the Select Committee of the National Assembly on Sports, seeking their urgent intervention on the matter. Malik Silla vying for the presidency of the Gambia Football Federation. About 5 members of his camp, including Esa Jallow, were disqualified. And according to the Standard, in the letter, the aggrieved persons who, according to GFF, are suspended by law, lodged a protest against the nomination of Lamin Kaba Bajo and his colleagues, alleging that their nomination cannot stand the test of morality. And they also published the full letter here on the paper. And Gambia calls for peaceful resolution of Saudi Arabia-Canada dispute. The government of the Gambia has followed with keen interest and concern of the recent dispute between the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and Canada, the two countries that have long-standing friendly relationship, both their respective countries and the people. But recently there has been that relationship has been showered following a remark made by a Canadian diplomat. And the Point newspaper is also reporting that EF's Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospital nurses launched an online appeal for blood bags. There was an online campaign and two nurses posted videos on social media saying that they need blood bags, and even the picture of the fridge where they allege that's where the blood had been stored. And court strikes out GFF in Johnson suit. The same story on the Standard newspaper. Banjul Bara Bridge was among Jammeh's projects. That is the opposition leader of the Gambia Democratic Congress, Mama Kandeh, has said that President Adama Barrow's recent claim that Banjul and Bara ferry crossing points expected to be built by his government is a propaganda to mislead the Gambian people. During President Barrow's recently concluded nationwide tour, he said that he is going to build Banjul Bara and the project will start in 2019. He said that Mama Kandeh here said that Banjul Bara Bridge was an existing project pioneered by former President Jammeh, and President Adama Barrow's announcement that the construction of the bridge between Banjul and Bara during his recent concluded tour. And 51 Senegalese intended migrants has been repatriated. You may remember 79 of them were rescued by the Gambian Navy, and 7 of them jumped out of the boat when there was a fire outbreak and they died. But among the 79, 51 are Senegalese, and they have been returned back to their country. The Professor Saliou Ndiaye, the Senegalese High Commissioner in the Gambia, confirmed this development, saying it came in consultation with the Senegalese authorities and the Minister of Foreign Affairs, International Cooperation and Gambians abroad. The Voice also is reporting that Dobong and Bonto complains over skyrocketing rice price. The communities in Dobong, Kunda and Bantanto in Central River region South has expressed their concern over the high cost of bread and poor road condition linking Dobong Kunda to Bansan town. And those are the main stories on the papers today. That is the Voice. And now the Inspector General of Police has issued a statement that has bring to the attention of the general public that persons selling liquors, that is an alcohol, shall obtain a license as prescribed under Liquid Licensing Act of the laws of the Gambia. He therefore said only the hours prescribed by the law shall be recognized and operational hours for selling and consumption of liquor at public places. And he said persons will not be allowed to sell or consume liquors at any public premises outside the licensing hours. Well, that's all we have for you today. And like I said in the introduction, President Barrow had a press conference today at State House where he discussed about migration. I responded to Dr. Cisse, who said he doesn't have the intellectual pedigree. He also talked about several other things, including the detention of the junglers. And so we will take a listen to a first clip. From there, we continue with the program.
There is a lot of investors around the world who are very innovative. They are creative, they know how to make money. And those investors want to partner with Gambia government to build the bridge at their own expense. This is a model that we call BOT, Build, Operate and Transfer. This is the model. This is not Gambia government putting their money, but it's investors. And I think every genuine Gambian should support this project. This will be a landmark project for Gambia. This will connect Banjul and Bara. Bara will be an extension of Banjul. Even people working here who came from Badibu and other places can travel from Badibu to come to work to Banjul. I think this is a project that every Gambian should support. And it's a BOT model. Build, operate, and transfer with partnership, but in partnership with government. For Dr. Ismaila Ceesay, I don't want to talk about personalities.
Earlier during his tour that he was going to build Banjul Bara, so he shed light on that subject. But he also responded to Dr. Ismaila Ceesay, a political science lecturer at the University of the Gambia. Dr. Ceesay had an interview with the Freedom newspaper where he said President Barrow lacks the intellectual pedigree to run this country. Let's take a listen to that clip.
For Dr. Ismaila Ceesay, I don't want to talk about personalities. Especially Dr. Ismaila Ceesay, he has been a critic of this government. But I have asked a lot of people these questions, and I'm still waiting for the answer. There was a system here for 22 years. The system was so bad that a lot of people have to leave this country, to live in exile. A lot of people lost their life. A lot of people were incarcerated because of the system. People were afraid to come out and challenge the system. When our leader, Ousainou Darboe, was jailed, we opened an application. We advertised for the position. Let people apply, especially intellectuals, apply to contest against Yahya Jammeh. Where were they? You know how many applications we received? 3 applications. 1 nurse from MRC and 1 Mbujaju. I was not being an applicant by then. But people came to me for me to apply. Because why? They trusted me. Because I was in that party and I was an executive member. I was managing their finance. For 10 years, I was there as an executive member. They have trust in me. And I used to live in Europe myself. I came back from Europe to establish my own business. I established my business in 2006. In doing that business, I succeeded. I got everything basically to live a very comfortable life. And I was spending a lot of money to make that change happen. I was just there to help. But there are a lot of intellectuals who were sacked in the system, who were here in the Gambia. They were sacked. They fold their hands. They become beggars because they are innovative. They couldn't create anything for themselves. Yes, I'm a high school graduate, but I was able to create something for myself. I was able to create employment for Gambians in this country. And I was successful. That's why people trusted me to contest elections. I was brave enough. I contributed more than Dr. Ceesay as far as this change is concerned. My tour with the UDP, our bill was $1.5 million. I contributed 80% of the bill to make sure we go on that tour. And that tour made the change in this country. And I was brave enough to stand against Yahya Jammeh. But it's very easy for you to sit at your corner and criticize. It's cheap. They want cheap popularity. But today, is because we were brave, because we stand up against Yahya Jammeh, against this dictatorship, until we were able to make the change. That's why some of them now, they have the platform to go and sit down in a corner and criticize and talk about intellectuals, PhD holders. Where were they when we needed them? Where? This is the question we should ask ourselves. Where were they? What did they create? What was their success? What do they do at that time? When I talk about this, I lose my temper. I get irritated. But they were here. Where was he? Dr. Ismail. When we opened that door for everybody. But my friend, it was difficult at that time. It was a matter of now or never. It was a matter of death or alive. We are on the line to make sure we change the system that was here. And indeed, we succeeded in changing the system. We now want to correct that system. This is what we are doing, and this is what we are doing. And when I was coming back here, I didn't seek for any job. I didn't seek for employment. I created my own thing. But where was Dr. Sise by then? Where was he? He is pleaded. What did he do for this country? Well, now the platform is open for everybody. Anybody can just sit at your corner and say anything. But when things were like that, when Yahya Jammeh was threatening to attack my camp, where were they? When Yahya Jammeh was on TV, to say he have rejected the results, where were they? We were here, and we stand up to it until this change happened. And we are ready to defend this change, to make sure we change the laws, we bring in good laws into this country. We open the platform for everybody. When it is elections, you can campaign. It's the Gambian people now. It's not me. It's not Adam Barrow. But one thing they cannot take from me, I am the one who made the change. I took the lead. And I contributed. Nobody will tell you I sponsored Adam Barrow. There is nobody in this country. Nobody will tell you I gave him money. No. Even with the collision, when we were crossing Barra, I paid to cross the vehicles because we don't have money to cross. And throughout the tour, wherever we have financial problem, they come to me. I was the one solving the problem. After the elections, people wanted to take it to police. I gave them money to solve the problems. Where was Dr. Sise? But now you have the mouth to talk. You say you are a university, you are a doctor, you are a political analyst, you are a political director. But where were you? Where was he, Dr. Sise? That's what I want to know. It's very unfortunate that we have Gambians who are conniving, to irritate people, confuse everybody. You call yourself intellectuals. If you are intellectual, create your own thing. We see you doing and you succeed in it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, that is the president. He has fired back at Dr. Ismaila Sise. President Barrow was speaking today at State House during a press conference. When he was asked about the statement made by Dr. Sise had an interview with the Freedom newspaper saying that President Barrow doesn't have the pedigree to run this country. But in response, Barrow said he was managing the finance of United Democratic Party. He came from the United Kingdom to set up his own business. And he was asking, where was he? He said, where was Dr. Ismaila Sise? And he said, when Jammeh annulled results, they were keeping quiet. That's what the president said. And he said, just questioning the PhD. Where were the PhD holders at the time? And he said, when he returned from the United Kingdom, he did not look for jobs. He created his own job, and he employed people. And he also talked about his contesting in the parliamentary election in his home constituency and his contribution during the presidential election. He paid the ferry to cross, and he said they can talk because now there's freedom. They can say anything, but they cannot take that thing from him. He took over from Jammeh. That's what President Barrow saying. Earlier he talked about the Banjul-Barra Bridge, where I said Mama Kandeh also talked about that was former President Jammeh's projects. But Barrow had shed light on that one. But Barrow also lashed out at Dr. Sise saying he's looking for cheap popularity. We will bring more of the press conference later on. But he also, at the press conference, he also talked about the commission, the junglers who were detained at you may remember several of them were detained for allegedly participating in former President Jammeh's government. Now, I think we can continue with another part of President Barrow's clip. Okay, we have somebody on the line now. Hello?
Hello.
Yes, Coach, how are you doing?
I am great.
Welcome again.
Thank you, Omar.
Well, the Gambia Police Force has just issued a statement that bar owners should have a license before they sell liquors. But, you know, they said they're talking about when people are inebriated, most of the time they commit crimes. But anyway, let's talk about this thing now. You heard what President Barrow said.
Yes.
He lashed out at Dr. Ismaila Ceesay. Can you tell me the body language? What mood will you tell me as the way when President was addressing responding to Dr. Ismaila Ceesay?
Well, it was very interesting, and I think some people will say that, you know, what happens when you push somebody to the wall. But I've seen a person who is becoming more and more agitated by criticisms and all that. And I think there were issues that he raised, which one can say valid.
Yeah.
But I think there were times when he missed the point.
Yes. Because
the issue here is, I do not agree with Dr. Ceesay that one has to be a degree holder to be the president of a country. But to go as far as, first of all, I don't want to talk about personal issues and then went on and talk about where was this guy, what has he done for this country? Well, you know what, he studied, he became a lecturer at the university, molding young minds. So he has done something for his country. Barrow chose the path of business. Dr. Ceesay chose the path of doing something else as a lecturer. And he had asked a very significant question. That is, where was Dr. Ceesay when Yahya Jammeh said that he annulled the results? It is an established fact that when that happened, that Dr. Ceesay was the one who wrote to the professors and then urged everybody that they should not resume their classes teaching until Jammeh vacates office. And maybe Dr. Ceesay may not have been in the forefront, but I'm thinking that at least he must have voted for President Barrow to effect that change, because without those votes, Barrow would not have been declared a winner. He had also mentioned some of the issues about the money that he spent and all these things. And I think at some point, maybe we really need to interrogate the coalition and money, because it looks like GDF sent almost $4 million to the coalition. But we have heard now President Barrow talking about how there were instances where they didn't have money, where he was the one who paid for their way so that they can cross. And then when the elections were over, when they wanted to take them to police, he was the one who gave them money again. And we've also had Halifa and Doi claim that they also, there was a time when the coalition could not move, that they were the ones who put their money in there. So the question will become, how much money was spent in these elections, and how was it accounted for? So to me, definitely, I believe President Barrow, of course, as an individual, has all rights to respond to anybody who criticizes him. But I think that he reminded me, I remember in August of 1994, when Halifa Sallah and Sidi Ajata were arrested, when they challenged Decree Number 4. And Yahya Jammeh's statement, then he had an interview with the BBC, and what he claimed was that these people were looking for cheap popularity. And we've also had Yahya used to tell people, I put my life on the line to become president. You know, when Jawara was here doing stuff, I was the one who put my life on the line. To hear Barrow say that, you know what, you cannot take away because I brought this change. I lead this. Barrow did not bring the change. Barrow was part of those that brought the change, but he did not single-handedly bring the change. So I believe at some point, even when you are angry, this is why sometimes to just be very calm and careful what you say. Because without a coalition, there would not have been a change. Without Solo Sendeng dying, there would not have been a change. Without Ousainou being arrested and others, there would not have been a change. Without everybody rallying around the coalition, there would not have been a change. Without GDF raising money here and there and sending it, there would not have been a change. So it was a culmination of a lot of stuff that brought the change. Barrow, of course, was the vehicle that was driven by the people to bring that change. But to suggest that he brought the change that he was the change, he brought the change. Nobody is trying to take anything away from him. But don't also try to take something that does not belong to you and own it all to yourself. And I think I would just suggest to the president that, listen, criticism will come.
Yeah.
And sometimes the way you handle it would be a great testament to your leadership and how tolerant you are. Now, of course, yes, now today there is a platform for people to speak, but that was what was promised to us by the coalition. That's why we supported them. That supporters will bring democracy where every Gambian will be able to exercise a democratic right. And if there is one thing that this government really should be applauded for is that the platform has been created. I was just reading the NDI report on the Gambia, and the high marks that this government have definitely tremendously is on democracy and freedom of opinions. So to me, I don't think there is anything worth beating one's chest here. You know, I don't think it was warranted anyway.
Before talking about scrutinizing the coalition, about the money that was put together for the coalition, you said when Jammeh came to power, he said he put his line on the line. Barrow is saying the same thing. When in Uganda, I remember when Museveni took over power and he appointed close family members into position, and he was asked, he said, why do you appoint your wife, your son, your brother-in-law, and close family member into government position? He said, because when he was fighting Idi Amin, he was the one on the front line with his family. Let me give you a few examples. For example, he appointed his wife, Janet Museveni, as the Minister of Karamoja Affairs and the Member of Parliament for Ruhama County. His brother-in-law, Major General Salim Saleh, was the Foreign Minister then, and his son, Lieutenant General Muhosi Kahiru Gaba, was appointed as the head of the Presidential Guard Brigade. Why is it that Africans always said, I put my life on the line?
Yeah, I think, sorry,
That's fine, you can just put that
is
off.
Yeah,
that's fine.
That's fine. Yeah, I think sometimes what tends to happen is we get carried away.
Yeah.
You know, and I think if I were President Barrow, now, first of all, if you look at this, you have the president of the Gambia who spent almost, I don't know how many minutes talking about Dr. Cisse this, Dr. Cisse this, where was Dr. Cisse, what did he do, and all this thing. Right. You know, it's like you're pretty much raising the profile of this guy to a level that maybe it was not.
Yeah.
You know, I remember when Wajwara, after the 94 coup, when Jammeh started going after Wajwara, it didn't take long for Wajwara's profile to be raised to a level that it was never. So to me, I think let's not get carried away to the extent of, in fact, trying to akimo everything and say, you know what, because of me, this happened because of me. And I think President Barrow is going to that level. I don't know who is advising him, but if I were him, I would remain humble and do the job that I was elected to do. I had him yesterday on the Kerfatu, their interview, talking about, you know, he is more concerned about his legacy and he's not going to allow anybody to cross that line. Listen, if I were him, I would focus on building that legacy more so than worrying about who says what and asking where they were. And the question about where were the intellectuals when we needed them, he alluded to Dr. Cisse. Maybe Dr. Cisse did not apply because he was not qualified. Because if Barrow maybe was told, Dr. Cisse, according to what I understand, hold dual citizenship. And as a result, there is definitely no way that he could have participated in the elections. But again, we also understand the dangers that we were dealing with. And this is why it was the few who took the burden of a country. Nelson Mandela, who went to jail for 27 years. When he was president, he was criticized. People used to call him a sellout. And how much did Nelson Mandela suffer? They tell me one politician who had suffered as much as Nelson Mandela. But did you see Nelson Mandela beating him chest, telling people, you know what, I was this, I started this struggle, or I was the head of the military wing, I was in jail for 27 years? No, because democracy comes with people having the right to question their leadership. So don't get thin-skinned and start getting all angry and making people to be, you know, giving them this profile that I think Dr. Cisse should be a very happy man today. Because if the president of the Gambia can spend almost 5 minutes just ranting and raving and beating his chest, throwing his arms all over the place, talking about one person, hey, come on now.
But some also will say most of his criticisms are not constructive. He's also always at the opposing side. Although he's right, nobody's to determine what he say, what not to say. But don't you think it also be helpful if his criticism, he can be like always on this man's skin, Barrow feel offended anytime. For him, he doesn't see doctor as somebody engaged in constructive criticism.
Well, I'm not hearing you very well. But if it is about the criticisms, whether the criticisms are fair or not, the reality of the matter is they are never fair or unfair criticism, because it's all a matter of a perspective.
Yeah.
You know, to you it may look fair, to others it may look unfair. You know, we've heard people when people were praising Barrow and saying good work, people were calling them, you know, what you guys, what you might call it, trying to look for jobs.
Yeah.
The people that were criticizing Barrow were called people who are angry because of the people that they wanted to lead, did not lead, and all that. So, of course, people will all have different opinions about this. If I were the president today, instead of responding I would say, you know what, he's entitled to his opinion and leave it at that. Yeah. Send one of your surrogates to deal with that matter. But if you use it's like looking at Donald Trump talking about people on Twitter. Yeah. I believe if I were the president, this is my opinion. Of course, the president is entitled as also a citizen to say or do what he feels are within his rights. But I would not have gone that route.
Well, another thing has to do with, you may remember this TRRC thing, Alaji, we discussed. Yes. I just want us to brush just a little about it. What is your stand on this thing?
I support Alaji's appointment.
Okay, now let me just in a very precise answer. But Sabali's argument is that this man is tinted. He was involved. So, and Dr. Babagale said in the event that December ticket comes forward, they will ask him to recuse himself. What do you think about that?
Well, you know what? Even here, in so many places, we have seen Supreme Court justices in the United States who recuse themselves from cases that they may feel that they are conflicted. The fact of the matter is here is Alaji Barrow's appointment legal or illegal? And I can tell you 100% that it is absolutely 100% legal and constitutional. There is absolutely nothing wrong with it. Now, this notion that he came and took up arms and this thing, as far as I know, there is nowhere in the country, in the Gambia, where he is now appointed, where he was charged with a crime and convicted of a crime. He is as innocent in the Gambia as anybody else. And if you look at even the constitution of the Gambia, every Gambian has the right to defend the constitution of that Gambia with all your might. And if you want to be honest, Jammeh was running an extrajudicial government. It did not respect the constitution. It did not respect everything he did was in abrogation of the constitution of the Gambia. So to me, what Alaji Barrow and others did was what patriotic citizens must do. So I disagree with Sabally 100% and support the appointment of Barrow. And I believe that Barrow has the integrity, the honesty, the intellect, and whatever it takes to be able to do the job. Because at the end of the day, I believe he is more interested in the legacy that he would leave than in trying to destroy a legacy. So I support his appointment and reject this notion that he should not have been appointed to that position.
Coach, finally.
Yes.
What will be your final message before I leave you?
My final?
Yeah.
Yeah, all I want to say is, you know what, hey, this is democracy, is a contact sport. So this would happen from time to time, we'll hit heads, you know, but at the end of the day, we all have the interest of the country. We all have different ways of seeing how the country must advance. And that would happen. We'll argue, we will laugh, we'll do all these things, but it's all in the name of the country. And I believe that, hey, let's just take it to heart and move on. And that's what it is. To Dr. Cisse, keep on speaking. To President Barrow, prove us wrong. Anybody who is doubting you, please make sure that you leave a legacy that would not only be celebrated by Gambians, but by Africans. You have the capacity to do that, and let's make it happen.
Thank you so much, Coach Passamajao, for your time.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
That is Coach Pasamajau there in the United States discussing the statement made by Barrow. And whoever wants to contribute, the address is Skype, is Fatu Radio Live. You can call via Skype. We can take the discussion forward. Fatu Radio Live, that is our Skype address. If you have Skype and you want to contribute to the program, feel free to do that. And I think somebody is already also telling me he wants to contribute. Let me just, you can just call, the one who just sent me a message on WhatsApp, call me. You can call me now. I will not be able to call you now. The computer is very far. Hello?
Hello?
Yes. Hello?
Yes.
Yes. Who is this, please?
This is Sidi Sane.
Oh, Uncle Sidi, how are you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm doing well. So earlier I told you I want also discuss about the migration thing, but later on there was a press conference at State House in Banjul, and President Barrow talked about the bridge between Banjul, Bara, and also responded to Dr. Ismaila Ceesay, who said he doesn't have the pedigree to run this country. If I might start with Barrow, what do you make of Barrow's response to Dr. Ceesay?
The connection is not very good. I'm getting a lot of...
Okay, what I'm saying is that President Barrow has responded to Dr. Ceesay. You may remember Dr. had an interview with the Freedom newspaper where he said President Barrow doesn't have the pedigree to run this country. But President Barrow has fired back today. He said, where was Dr. Ceesay? President Barrow was in the UK, he came back, he set up his own business, and he kind of employed people and so on. So, what do you make of President's response to Doctor's statement?
Well, first and foremost, thank you for inviting me.
Right, thank you.
To your program. I did not completely, did not read Dr. Ceesay's entire interview, but I was able to get a gist of what he said.
Yeah.
The headline was that President Adama Barrow doesn't have the pedigree. I don't really agree with that because educational qualification, if you can communicate, you have the basics.
Yeah.
I don't think that you need to have a bachelor's or a master's or a PhD. The educational qualification, it does help in some instances, but I don't buy that argument. I think it was rather unfortunate, and the term pedigree, it does have some negative connotations as far as I am concerned.
Right.
I think it is a word that he should not have used. So I think President Barrow, just like every other Gambian, qualified Gambian, has the right to contest the elections. And he just happened to have been one of very few who bothered to apply. I think what we need to do between now and the next elections is to try and support him, to try as well as we can to help him implement the National Development Plan, so that at least we can have a successful transition. As I said, this is I would agree with President Barrow that you don't really have to be a PhD holder or a master's degree holder or even a bachelor's degree holder to be at the head of the government in the Gambia.
Now, on Friday, our Navy rescued 79 people and 7 of them lost their lives. What do you think, they want to go through the biography, what do you think is the permanent solution to this problem? We have seen people die in the desert, in the high seas, and despite the slavery in Libya and so on, people still want to continue to go to Europe.
Again, I
okay,
have
you
a
can
very
hear.
bad
Okay, I said
connection, really.
yes.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's fine. I think it has to do with the connection. I said the Gambian Navy on Friday, early hours of Friday morning, rescued 79 Gambians and Senegalese nationals. They were trying to go through Europe. So actually, 7 of them jumped out of the boat and eventually drowned. So what do you think will be the permanent solution to this problem? Still, young people want to go to Europe. Some will die in the high seas, some will die in the desert. There was a slavery in Libya.
I have written quite a bit during the height of the back way in the Gambia. That was during Jammeh's administration. And the solution then that I proposed and the solution now is basically the same.
Yeah.
At the height of it, it was because of local conditions, human rights violations, which were basically one of the reasons. The other reasons was employment opportunities.
Yeah.
If we are going to retain our young, able-bodied young Gambians, we have to create the opportunities at home, which means that we have to emphasize job creation. The economy must grow, and it must grow at a pace. This is the challenge faced by all developing countries, is that our growth in population usually is far higher than we can create jobs locally for our population.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, I think that job creation should be one of the #1 priorities of the Barrow administration. This is the only way I think we can try to stem the tide. I don't know what the figures are this year.
Yeah.
Because I haven't done much this year in terms of the out migration, but I suspect they are lower than they were last year or the year before, at least as far as Gambia is concerned. So the idea is to continue to emphasize job creation in the economy, so that at least Gambians, young Gambian school leavers, can have jobs at home, rather than taking the back way, particularly to go to Europe. And most of it do not end up, in a happy, doesn't have a happy ending.
Thank you so much, Uncle Sidi Sane, for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. That is Mr. Sidi Sane, Gambian based in a blogger who based in DC in the United States. And like I said, we're discussing about President Barrow responding to Dr. Ismaila Ceesay today at the press conference at State House. He also made mention of the Banjul Barra Bridge. Mama Kane earlier came on and said that was Jammeh's project, but Barrow said no, there were people, and he also shed light on that issue. And for those who missed the earlier of few keywords from Barrow's statement was that he said, where was Dr. Ceesay? But Coach Jammeh Pasamba Jau said, well, when Jammeh annulled the results, Coach Dr. Ismaila Ceesay was the one who mobilized university lecturer and said, let us boycott lectures until further notice. And Barrow also said, those questioning his qualification, he was in the United Kingdom, he came home, he was managing the finance of the United Democratic Party, he set up his business, he created jobs for people, and it was like he did not seek any job. But it seems like we don't have anybody on the line now, and if I have somebody who is trying to get in to take this discussion forward. So let me try once again. If the person is not available, I will think I will draw the curtain here. There was a press conference. President had somebody also is calling now. Please call. Want to also join the program. I think this is becoming an interesting debate. And but what we will do now, I think we will take one more or so from there. I think somebody also is on the line. Yes. Hello. Hello? I'm afraid we lost that person on the line. Hello? Hello?
Hey.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, yes.
Okay. Hey, Omar.
How are you doing?
I am good.
So, you heard President Barrow. He has fired back.
Omar, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, yes. I can hear you. Pata said he can, right? Pata, welcome.
Yes. Thank you, thank you.
Okay, I'm sure you are following the program.
Yes, I am.
So I don't need to ask you a question. What do you make of the president's statement?
Omar, I mean, I think there is one thing that we need to understand as Gambians. Democracy is a contract sport. Often we tend to confuse the whole idea that when somebody is in a position, a public position, a position of responsibility, the people can criticize, but that person does not have the right to defend himself.
Right.
I watched the press conference. As a matter of fact, I watched both interviews that happened yesterday with the Fatu Network and then the Kerfatu, and I heard what the president said. Just like any Gambian, there's a misconception over here to say that there are people who cannot see any negative about this government. This is far from true. We do see it.
Yeah.
I respect people. I respect people when you call yourself a critic,
Yeah.
and you're criticizing coming from a position of good faith.
Yeah.
I expect people to understand that when you shoot out at somebody, those people also do have the right to defend themselves. But also when you do criticize and you intend to move the conversation forward, to improve the system, to have progress, you should be able to be a little objective, or even where you are not objective, when you criticize and point out the shortcomings, the best way you needed to do, or best thing you could do, is to profile solutions to what the issues are.
Yeah.
I have been following Dr. Sisa for quite a while, and so many people thought that my reactions to Dr. Sisa just started. Dr. Sisa started. Dr. Sisa was the first person to have appraised this government's 100 days in office in February.
Yeah.
In February of 2017. In February 2017, that means Dr. Sisa had started counting that government coming into effect from December 2nd when the elections happened.
Yeah.
For somebody who is a political science lecturer, there is nowhere on earth that anybody would have.
Oh, I'm sorry, we lost Pata on the line. Pata Sedikan is discussing or also contributing towards what President Barrow said and what Dr. Ismaila Ceesay said about. Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, you are back, yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now, yes.
Okay. So what I was saying was that anybody who listened to Dr. Ceesay's interview the first time that he did an assessment in February 2017.
17 years.
It was quite unfair to say that at that time anybody would think that President Barrow had 100 days in office at the time. And that was the first time the Ismaila Ceesay actually pointed out to the failures of the government even before they start.
Okay.
But that is here, not there. His assessment of the president to say that the president does not have the intellectual pedigree, it was not to say that the man was criticizing. That has a negative connotation, and he does not. It was being negative. He was being negative. So when the president shoots back to say, if somebody is questioning my ability to lead,
yes,
I also have the right to hit back and address this person where they were. I'm not a fan of asking people where they were. But when some people who were not educated, or not educated enough to be able to articulate themselves, or let's even say it up to the degree of master's level or even first degree, you as a professional, when you're criticizing those people, they also have the right to tell you, we are not educated, but when we were fighting, those of you who were educated, sat back.
Right.
And that was a very legitimate question for Dr. Ceesay. Dr. Ceesay is not just a political science lecturer that started this year. He has been with the university for so long. In his classroom, until today, Dr. Ceesay did not even once publish any publication to say, at the time of dictatorship, this was my academic position on dictatorship.
Yeah.
And you challenge him that on your program. You said in Malawi or somewhere somebody had said something until they had to leave. Why was Dr. Ceesay not doing that?
Yes, that was when I mentioned Ali Muzeri in Makerere, Dr. Stella Nyanzi of Makerere, and Wangari Maathai also in Kenya, in the University of Kenya in Nairobi. Those are the examples I gave him last time.
So the whole idea of journalists were not coming to me was a lame excuse. If Dr. Sisa had at the time, as a professor, said, hey, this is what we're observing, this is what is going on in the country, that is fine. But if people would have actually appreciated that.
Yeah.
He is not just a doctor. He did not just start lecturing in 2017. So if he criticizes the government and the president comes back, and there's one thing that people are misunderstanding. The doctor was very, very general in his criticism of the government. Yeah. His position was that nothing has changed in that country because this man is employing the same people that Yahya Jammeh had used. Absolutely, everybody, almost all of us, do have a problem with the appointment of certain people. But that was just coming from a position of a principle to say, these people help Yahya Jammeh ruin, let them stay away. Yeah. But that is not to say that no progress was attained.
Well,
so I think,
yes,
I think that criticism is unfair, but the one part of it that is which I heard Coach talk about, and that is the part that is so unfair to me. Look, Sabally, when you had Sabally on the radio yesterday,
yeah,
people were Sabally. We were telling him all sorts of things. Oh, that was Sabally when Yahya Jammeh was doing this. Oh, Sabally insulted the Mandinkas. Oh, Sabally did this. The same people that were asking those questions were the same people who are telling us we should not care where Dr. Sisa was, because they thought Dr. Sisa's criticisms were genuine. I am not riding with Sabally, but if we are going to hold Sabally accountable for being able to work with President Jammeh at the time that we needed him not to, as a quote unquote somebody who was educated, people are within bound to be able to ask Dr. Sisa where was he as an intellectual, as a professional when things were bad. These are legitimate questions. They are very fair, and I hope this is the last time President Barrow is going to respond to this question.
I suppose.
I can see clearly he's irritated, and if I were him, I would have been irritated too.
Yeah,
I would have. So this whole idea of when people are in public position, people can criticize that they should not. President Obama did it when they were criticizing President Obama for his health care. He told the Republicans, he said, "You guys are telling me that the Obamacare is not fine. Until this day, let us see what you guys can come with. Until this day, you guys are not able to do anything. All you are able to do is to go to the TV and criticize me. You cannot provide any solutions." And when they accused him of not having a spine or a backbone, he did say the same thing. He said, "You are calling me a spineless, but I went ahead and killed and took out the terrorists that was Osama bin Laden, when a lot of you people were at home not doing anything but only criticizing. What is wrong with that? Why must that be limited to just the Gambia and to America and not the Gambia? Dr. Sisa or anybody else, they have the right to criticize the government, but people who support the government and the government does have the right to defend them."
Well, thank you so much, Pata Sedikan, for your time.
Thank you, Omar.
Thank you. That is Pata Sedikan. Also said his opinion on the Barrow statement on responding to the statement made by Ismaila Cisse, Dr. Ismaila Cisse, a political science lecturer at the University of the Gambia. A couple of weeks ago, he had an interview where he said the president does not have the pedigree to run this country. And today, at a press conference, President Barrow has also responded to that. I think there is another person on the line. Hello?
Yeah, hello?
Yes, Banka, welcome.
Hey, Omar, how are you?
I'm doing well.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, the discussion here is Barrow has fired back at Dr. Cisse. I'm sure you are following, right?
Right.
Okay, what do you make of that statement?
Look, Omar, sometimes I don't understand President Barrow, because I think he is wasting his time on trivial issues he has more pressing issues to deal with. What President Barrow needs to understand is that Dr. Cisse, Dr. Ibrahim Ismaila Cisse, is a bona fide Gambian citizen who has a right to criticize President Barrow's actions, the government's actions, and whatever that happens in that government. Whether fairly or unfairly, legit or not legit, it doesn't even matter. The guy has a God-given right to do so. So to get all worked up about it and get all, angry and, throwing tantrums all over the place, I think he needs to act presidential finally and also understand that this guy is as a Gambian citizen, as one of us, has every right to criticize his decisions. What he needs to do now is to work on making sure that the concerns that Dr. Ismaila Cisse is raising are concerns that he look into. I mean, if he doesn't think they are worth his time, obviously he can ignore them. But I think concerns from every Gambian citizen needs to be looked into, need at least be considered by him, And he should make an honest, genuine effort to kind of look at these things for what they are and not be kind of getting worked up and having a thin skin about them. If the guy calls him this name or that name or does this, they are calling presidents around the world worse names than that. I mean, the pedigree the tag that, Dr. Ismaila Ceesay used, people have said worse things than that to their public servants. He is a public servant. He needs to live with that and just not get too frustrated and too angry and just have a thick skin for once, really.
You talk about president. Let me bring one example. President Rodrigo Duterte of Philippines, when Obama was president, Obama was supposed to meet him somewhere during the summit, and he called Obama son of a whore. But and the meeting was cancelled. But now some of the people also are saying Barrow has the right to respond, and you are saying he should have a thick skin, even though if he has thick skin, but he has the right to respond.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
absolutely, he has every right to respond. But you see, with the way Barrow responds is he lashes out. And when I say lash out is, basically one of the questions that he was asking around was, where was this guy when we were fighting this fight? The question that I'm asking Barrow is, where were you, Barrow, when we were fighting this fight? I mean, because look, let's be honest. Barrow was the UDP deputy treasurer, yes, absolutely, and I'm sure he has contributed money towards the welfare of the UDP. That's commendable. But what I am trying to say here is that would not be any more different than Dr. Ismaila Ceesay organizing a lecture at the university and talking to students about their democratic rights in an effort to educate them as to what they need to do about their situation during those horrible years. So he cannot sit here and put himself on a pedestal as if though somehow he has the moral authority to say something or act in a certain way, and somehow Dr. Ismaila Ceesay doesn't have that same moral authority or right to do so. That's what I have a concern with. Other than that, really, he has a right to respond. If Dr. Ismaila Ceesay says, look, you don't have the pedigree, he can just stand there and say, guys, well, that's his opinion. I do believe I have the pedigree, and life goes on. But when you start lashing out, the same questions can be posed to Barrow. Barrow, where were you when we were, fighting this fight? I want to know, honestly. I do want to know.
Finally, Banka Mane, before you leave. Hello?
Sorry?
I said finally, what will be your final message before I allow you to go?
My final statement, you said?
Yes.
Oh, no, I mean, look, all I'm going to say is President Barrow he's still learning on the job. I understand that. He's new to this thing. I understand that. He's not ready for the kind of fierce criticism that he's getting because he has had a good ride in the beginning when everybody was trying to give him, some time to kind of get to a better understanding and a better grip on the issues. I understand all that. But what he needs to also understand at the same time is this is a country that belongs to each and every one of us. And what that means is each and every Gambian has a right to criticize, to stand up and speak out and say what is on their mind, regardless of what was in their past, what their present is, and what their future will be. As long as we understand that, we will be just fine. All we need to do now is this. Let's make sure we apply the laws as the way they are supposed to be. Make sure that everybody, the little rights that they're supposed to have, they are given those rights, and making sure that we recognize that we have to keep this civil. We cannot be here throwing tantrums and getting angry about situations, and especially when you are in that position of authority. He is in a position of authority, which is a whole different ballgame. He has powers. He has the bully pulpit. He can stand there and be able to defend himself any day, any time. When he makes a call, people will respond because he's the president of the Republic of the Gambia. There is nothing anybody can do about that, at least as of until the elections. So he just needs to learn to accept the fact that and appreciate the fact that he has many, many avenues and ways that he can make his position known without getting all worked up about it, without getting angry, without throwing tantrums, without issuing threats. Because things like, if anybody crosses my line, sentences like that are very worrisome. He just needs to back away from all those kinds of talk and come to terms with the reality and accept that we are all one people under God and everybody is just trying to do the right thing for our country, by our country. That's it. Really.
Thank you so much, Banka Mane, for your time.
Thank you, brother.
That is Banka Mane, another Gambian based in the United States, also sharing his opinion on Barrow. Dr. Sisay's push and pull here. You may remember, like I said earlier, he made a statement against Barrow, and today at the press conference, President Barrow has fired back at Dr. Sisay, saying